This video contains spoilers for Attack on Titan Season 2, a tiny bit of Season 3, and the beginning of Season 4. Also, I might mispronounce words more than a couple of times. Also, just another thing, I absolutely sucked this anime's dick throughout this video. Like, I love this fucking anime, it used to be my favorite before I rewatched One Piece, and I know that because of the ending or something, people don't really like it anymore, but frankly, I don't care and I don't feel ashamed to praise something that I love to death, okay? Thank you for watching! So, let's talk about Attack on Titan! This series needs no introduction, really. A very well-known series created by Hajime Isayama that just happens to be, nothing much, just one of the coolest shit out there ever. Big fiction, you know, happens all the time, really. But then, as you start to watch it, you see the protagonist having his mother killed, then wanting to kill all Titans, and discovering that he himself can become a Titan. And that's all fine and dandy, the Titan thing particularly awesome, but I mean, I've seen this before, probably so did you. So then, you wonder, what does make this anime, specifically, so remarkable? It's just a series about killing giant weird humanoid monsters, right? Right? Oh damn, this Titan's very different, much bigger and more menacing than the others. Thatcher is an intimidating main villain, and I'm sure he has lots of mysteries surrounding him. I sure do wonder how... he's a human? Interesting. I wonder who would make sense to... Wait, what the fuck? This scene here was uploaded to YouTube 5 years ago with the title Most Epic Attack on Titan Scene Ever! Colossal Darboard Titan Review by channel Crafting Vegito, with some incredible 24 million views. And as of now, it's the first video that comes up if you search the best scene in Attack on Titan on YouTube. So then, what does make this scene, in specific, in my opinion, and apparently in many other people's opinion, in the video that's not there anymore, the best scene in Attack on Titan? Is it just the twist itself, or is there more to it? Today, we shall be breaking down the best scene in Attack on Titan. So, the context for the best scene actually starts to be set 3 episodes before. While, as part of the main cast was trapped in a castle at night, Ymir reveals herself as the Jaw Titan, Krista reveals that her name is actually Historia, Night Titans appear, a bunch of soldiers get fucking mauled to death, as per usual, the Beast Titan makes his second appearance, a lot of things happen, but do you remember one thing missing from the list I just gave you that might have appeared significantly less relevant at the time compared to those? You know, given that there's truly a bunch of stuff that goes on in that castle. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Reiner saving Connie. Now, this is not the first time we've seen Reiner saving someone, and as you'll see in where we're going next, it will not be the last. But the thing about this time is, it's an important moment for Reiner's character, because it changes him. You see, you probably already know, given that you've been watching this video, but Reiner has a condition of split personality, and while we, as the audience, are not supposed to know about that just yet, it makes perfect sense in hindsight. Reiner actually almost being killed by a Titan so he can save Connie clashes his personalities against one another, and that clash would get even stronger later, paired with the scene of Reiner subconsciously grabbing Historia by the leg just as she's falling from the castle due to Ymir, which he also just discovered is the Titan that ate his friend Marcel in the past, but hurting her and not letting go due to being completely lost in thought, shows that Reiner is getting some actual strong psychological damage from the events unfolding, because even with his reaction time being on point, his consciousness is floating with thoughts about both the fact that Ymir is the one that killed Marcel on his warrior side, and that he was willing to actually die for Connie, someone supposed to be just another pawn in his pretend soldier game on his soldier side. Reiner is currently under extreme mental pressure, thinking about everything, about the part he played on both of his sides, and how these sides relate to each other, to the people in his past, and to the people now around him. And after all of that, as the survey corps are still recovering from disaster, he's struggling to climb the wall by himself, with his broken arm, so Eren lends him a helping hand. And this shot right here establishes very well the vision Reiner has of Eren in this very moment. A friend to fight alongside, a fellow soldier, if you will, that would be willing to help him out more often than not. As Reiner is starting to come undone, he starts talking about the feelings of a soldier, and after being reminded of his homeland by Eren, He gasps in surprise. Bertholdt tries to make Heiner remember which side he's in by indirectly talking to his warrior side. The thing is, by now, Heiner's personality is unclear. You can tell which is in control, almost as if they're merging. Bertholdt seems a little worried about the instability of his partner and might be looking for preventative measures for a mental breakdown that surely won't happen right now. But it might later. Sasha and Mikasa have some suspicious exchange. I wonder if they suspect. No, not now. Later. After some more time, Heiner in his damaged state of mind, having his sides intersecting, approaches Eren. Buddies, as they, soldiers fighting for humanity, are, and eventually says, casually, that he's the Armor Titan, Bertholdt is the Colossal Titan, and that he would like Eren to go back to their homeland with them. Now! Of course, given that this is, Attack on Titan, this scene wouldn't feel complete without some insane production to fuck your shit up. As if the information you just got wasn't enough to make you shit yourself already. Even though, before all that, we receive a calm presentation of some crazy ass information that should make no sense at first glance at this point in the story. And I mean a calm presentation indeed. Heiner just says it so casually, like there isn't any drama at the moment, nor any epic framing of expressions or something. I mean, yeah, they're just around the corner, but the first time he says it, it's as if it's the most natural thing ever. I can picture someone pausing right after he says it and being like, wait, what? Did I just read/heard that right? But anyway, I guess literal red flags are a little more on the nose than most directors would like to get, but still, you might not notice it means danger at first, as I did not. For starters, things around the setup of this scene have been so calm and cold after the biggest, most dramatic plot relevant scene in some time, quote unquote, as the scene in the castle maybe could be described as, and given that it just came out of that, it's very fitting, but I don't know if it's because I'm very well acquainted with the events following right after it, or if it really weirdly remains a sense of looming danger and tension as they ponder the possibilities of how the Titans are managing to get inside the walls without clear means to. The calm before the storm, you could say, and just look at the gut-wrenching faces Bertholdt makes having Heiner go snitch on both of them. Talking about expressions, we can't leave out this terrifying face Mikasa makes when she hears what Heiner is saying to Eren. I mean calls out to the guys, but with Mikasa standing there menacingly, just staring at them, he quickly notices something's not right. Interestingly enough, Eren doesn't explode when given the proposal by Heiner. Instead, he ponders, like that feeling when you receive information so shocking you just don't know how to react, and your immediate strong feelings hit the brakes, because you're just that surprised. Feels like something should go here. Weird. Anyway, after Eren points out that Heiner must just be very tired after his heroic act, and asks what did Heiner expect, that Eren would just get up and go with the two individuals he probably hates the most, to take a little vacation in their hometown. It makes Heiner realize the huge mistake he just made, and that his two identities really cannot coexist, and he's rightfully horrified. Now everyone in the scene is tensed up. Bertholdt is so scared he can't even speak no more, just watch as Heiner cracks their perfectly crafted disguises open. A shot of the reflection in a small puddle, as if they're all stuck facing the situation right now, with no turning back. Just then, the strong winds make the red flag snap, jump scaring the shit out of everyone except Heiner. Probably because at the same time, he finally snaps too. The sky above becomes clear as the inevitable that has to happen now has become clear to everyone. They're all waiting I don't know if that's Mikasa waiting for the best opportunity to attack or hesitation to slice her comrades, but I chose the latter. It's more interesting to her writing, which was still in its high point at this time in the show. Heiner, with tears in his eyes, laments ever having met people like this, quote unquote, and that will mean a lot to watchers that would care to look back on this scene after progressing the story. All the cards are on the table now. Heiner doesn't know what's right anymore. Only that, now that he made such a mess, he needs to acquire the resolve to face the consequences of his actions. He has to fulfill his duty as his one side that needs to be in command right now, a warrior. Heiner unbandages his arm to reveal Titan smoke coming out of it, shocking Eren. He still has his guard down, in front of the one that was supposed to be his friend. Bertholdt gets nervous as, before Heiner attacks, he still can't register he'll have to deal with this giant unexpected turn of events. Heiner approaches Eren with the intent to take him by force, just as Mikasa appears from behind Eren, jumping on Heiner and Bertholdt, slashing them both, almost killing Bertholdt, being stopped only by Heiner throwing her off the fucking wall while saving his partner, and by standing in front of him, showing that they really are a team, and this together on the opposite side of the fight. And then the transformation starts. That beautiful masterpiece of a song that is You See Big Girl kicks in as a black rash outline of the face of their titans appears within the orange flashes in the face of Bertholdt and Heiner. Something that has not happened so far for any titan, as if their place in the character's perception and in our own perceptions is being rewritten at this very moment, together with their place in the story as the two most hated enemies of humanity shatter disguises and rise, both at the same time, blowing everyone back. Eren is grabbed by Heiner while Bertholdt takes Ymir, and seeing the Armored Titan again after so much time, while now knowing he's Heiner, and the fact that in the position he transforms in, he's just staring at Eren while holding him by force, it gives the feeling of a really personal facing the true face of your friend moment. Flashbacks play to when we first met them, with their innocent faces and significant scenes, even ones we don't actually saw happening on screen. This flashback really pulls on the heartstrings. I mean, even Eren is crying before he gets angry at Titans, nonetheless, and not an angry sort of crying either. Look at him, he's devastated, and then he transforms all that sadness that he's overcome with at the moment in the will to fight his old friends, as he transforms while being held by Heiner in an insanely epic shot I can't even describe. By the way, did you see that he breaks Reiner's wrist when he does that? It would appear many people didn't notice it when they saw this scene. Go in it. This is one of the most raw, emotional scenes in the series, which you wouldn't guess would come so soon after the super tense moments of the castle scene. If you don't get chills from watching all of that unfold, while again, the fantastic You See Big Girl plays, yeah, I literally don't believe it exists. But out of that, what does it mean? What does it mean that we were just presented with the fact that Heiner and Bertholdt are actually the Armored Titan and the Colossal Titan, aside from, exactly that? Stay with me here. So far, the Colossal Titan has been portrayed as the most powerful enemy humanity has to eventually go against, standing a whopping 10 meters above the wall that itself stood 35 above the biggest of Titans. So when you discover that this insanely powerful being that ended a century of peace is actually a human, the doubt is rightfully buried deep on your head. Who could it be? Is it a new character that has yet to show up, or is he already among us? It's the latter. Well, that makes it bertholdt. We talked a lot about Heiner, so it's only fair that we talk about Bert too. He's a great character that deserves way more love. But why? I think the choice of the so far considered to be biggest threat to the protagonists being Bertholdt of all characters is fucking genius. And while it would still be written by the also genius Isayama, it would not be as masterful and mind-blowing if the identity of the Colossal was someone else. Think about it. What if it had been Erwin? It almost was actually, or Pixies. Of course the ally leader would actually be the villain, and although cliches can be done right, and it probably wouldn't stay in Attack on Titan in any way if that were to be the case. That's not the case, and it's Bertholdt. Wow, Bertholdt is a cool guy and all, but up to this point, he had shown little to no character compared to his Silver Corps comrades and his buddy Heiner. Some watchers even forgot he existed. And honestly, I get that. But now, oh boy. This timid motherfucker who barely spoke anything is the biggest threat known to humanity from the show's perspective, right now. But wait a minute. You might say, isn't that a tad underwhelming? The guy didn't even want to transform. What kind of main villain is that? Weren't you supposed to be menacing and threatening? Heiner has been leading him by hand this whole time. However, isn't the story that's been leading you by hand this whole time? Think about it. Attack on Titan clearly shows you that it's a big and mysterious world out there. You don't know where the Titans came from, nor the extent of their ability, since you've been put on the perspective of characters that are but wondering the same thing. Why does this one have armor? Why can Eren turn into a Titan? What secrets did anyone to protect so badly she crystallized herself? You are, naturally, led to believe that the biggest Titan of all, the face of literally the whole franchise, and one of the most recognized characters in anime, maybe even for people that don't watch it, that is also the cause of every tragic event that goes on inside the walls after the Century of Peace, directly responsible for Karna's death. The motivation of our main character to kill all Titans is the final enemy that the good guys have to face. Just a Thanos to the Avengers, or Tio to the Stardust Crusaders. It's how it works! Naturally, this is a story about the hero versus the villain, the good guy that lost his mother against the baddest of baddies that started everything, right? Oh boy, we couldn't be more wrong. Soon enough on the best scene, you see the so-called Colossal Titan that killed millions, hesitating to transform, crying after having been sliced once, and almost being killed right after that because he let his guard down, being saved by Heiner, and still looking reluctant as he gets behind him. You take a while to process what just happened, but there is no time. Now it's action scene after action scene, and your mouth is gaping open as you can't conceive this immense twist. Soon, you think that if there's Eren's Titan, the female Titan, the Jaw Titan, the Beast Titan, the Armor Titan, and the Colossal Titan, all from people that can turn into Titans, the supposedly strongest of them being a boring ass dudes, maybe the Colossal isn't the main villain after all? Maybe he is but a type, just like the others. He's just a big guy. I mean, this Titan is a fucking monkey that can speak perfectly. Why couldn't this Titan just be fucking huge in comparison to all the others? So we circle back to the question, what does it mean? It means that this is the very moment, before the basement, before Marley, before everything that's to come, that Attack on Titan tells you that this world is much more complex than just the good guys trying to win against the bad guys. The Colossal Titan is just a guy, bertholdt at that, and so is the Armor one. But we were shown so many emotions from Heiner and Bertholdt before the transformations that it makes you wonder what their side, the side of the Titans, the side of the mysteries, actually intends to do with all this power. Is it necessarily bad? Even if it is, how do Bert and Heiner personally feel about it? As we already established it, for all we know, they are just individuals that use their mysterious powers for reasons we don't know yet. There's even a comment in one video that I won't find right now that has the interpretation that when Bertholdt cries as Mikasa slashes him, that the reason he's crying is not because of the pain, but instead because Mikasa did not hesitate to try and kill him until them comrade, while he himself did hesitate. Although that could be because Heiner just caught everyone, almost everyone, we'll get there, by surprise. And you know what? Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a stretch, honestly, but I think it's a valid interpretation of such a small detail because the character exploration we got in this scene is already so ripe for interpretation. And really, how could we know if we don't know anything about them? Do we need to think about both sides fairly, given our lack of knowledge? I mean, the two known to be big scary villains, one of them which you thought was the main one, just cried and hesitated with doubt. You've been watching Attack on Titan of all anime. You're familiar with how detailed and big this story appears to be. Could all the Titan shifters' intentions really just amount to kill? I mean, they are humans too, right? And in one of the next scenes from later episodes, Eren is approached by the notion that the inconceivable thing, the Colossal and their armored titan not being purely evil individuals, despite all the horrible tragedies they cause, and he can't even start to comprehend it. What do you mean the villains are not pure evil? That makes no sense! He then asks, who is the enemy? And no one has a straight answer for him. Which, if you keep up with Attack on Titan, you know this could be considered very, very good foreshadowing to both the story itself and its themes. One flaw. Oh man, this hurts. But we have to talk about it. Okay. You might have noticed that even though I praised the scene over and over, I never once said the word perfect or flawless. And that is due to the fact that you can in fact make a perfect scene, but in its entirety, I don't think this one is one of them. It comes very close, but due to a specific aspect of it that I left out of the analysis, I don't think it is. And can you guess what that is? Well, the one flaw of this scene is... the Survey Corps already suspected Bertholdt and Heiner. Again? They already suspected Annie before and now... To be fair, it very much makes logical sense since Attack on Titan is a very logical series, that they would suspect them. But it makes you think, is the series being too logical and not letting itself be taken in by the moment sometimes a bad thing? And not to forget, the scene of the suspicion is inserted right between Heiner telling Eren the truth and the action scene, which breaks the flow of the whole thing. And given that now you know the characters in the present are wary of Heiner and Bertholdt, before Heiner actually confirms it by the steam coming out of his healed arm, you already are almost sure that the suspicion is in fact the truth, taking a fair bit out of the revelation of the steam. It's still cool as fuck, mind you, and the scene gets more tense, maybe knowing almost everyone is on their guard, but how much cooler would it have been if not just we, but the characters were caught completely by surprise as well? Although both we and them might still have some denial in our minds, I feel it creates a weird discrepancy between our reaction and their reaction at the present. But it's still a masterpiece of a scene. If anything, having this flaw and remaining the best scene says a lot. But this tangent does break the moment, at least for me. It's the sole reason I don't call this scene perfect. Also, what do you mean overly interested? He asked you once! I guess Isayama must have been like, see? It makes sense, but I mean, he could have put that explanation after the scene itself. Even if I think they being wary was more of a downside, at least putting it later wouldn't have affected the flow of the scene. Interestingly enough though, even though I think this scene is not perfect and that Attack on Titan does have perfect scenes, this one is still the best scene in Attack on Titan for me. This scene is so beautiful. Every single time I see it, I get chills and I wanna cry. Attack on Titan is an awesome anime, full of absolutely fantastic scenes, and you would have an incredibly hard time trying to list them all, but I do believe this one to be the best. Even if I change my opinion later, the only contender for its sheer greatness that popped into my mind right at the moment I saw it was one other scene, but that might be saved for another video. Maybe, I don't know what will happen to this channel. This is a masterfully crafted moment that tells you so much more than what's actually on screen. Hell, it's like almost passing the whole ass message of Attack on Titan on its own. It's insane how fiction can pull off things like this if it knows how to do it. But I think the animation production really adds to it too. I went to read the manga to see if the scene was just as epic and not really. It doesn't carry out the spunk the anime got. It's like, hey, I'm the Armored Titan and this is the Colossal Titan. Ciao. Wait a minute. There is no sounding manga. Hey, I'm the Armored Titan and this is the Colossal Titan. But you know, it's actually pretty funny that Bertholdt right here looks like one of those sock puppet things with their mouths open. This scene is also extremely nice for me personally because I tend to, or used to, attach myself to the most whatever characters ever. Do you know who my favorite character in regular show was when I was a kid? It was fucking High Five Ghost. It skips today, but I still don't get my past self. And my favorite in Attack on Titan was Reiner. Since the beginning, I thought he would die quickly and not be extremely important to the story overall. I was ready for him dying, and instead Isayama out of nowhere gave him a fucking jetpack and sent him flying in terms of plot relevance and character development, making him not only still my favorite character in Attack on Titan, but one of my favorite characters in all of fiction, and needless to say, I fucking love that. Anyway, I love Attack on Titan, I love this scene, and I love the fact that you stayed here with me, listen to me talk for I don't know how many minutes yet. Seriously, it means a lot to me, disliking or liking it. I also understand that this whole video stands on the assumption that whoever watched it engaged with the story of Attack on Titan similarly to how I did. Yeah, I did see some people say that they identified the Armor Titan as Reiner earlier because of the hair. But no, you did not see Bertholdt coming. I refuse to believe it. His Titan is literally bald. I'm only half joking here. But anyway, seriously now. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos, if there will be more. That is, this took me a while. Also, bonus thingy, in the fight scene that happens later, did you notice Reiner punches Eren the exact same way Eren punched the Titan that was gonna eat Mikasa the first time he transformed? No one talks about this. I think this parallel is fucking orgasmic, even though I have no idea of what it means. That's all. Bye!